Donald Trump and the British royals are more closely intertwined than you think. Donald Trump's controversial tariffs shook global trade to its core, triggering economic ripples that even reached the hallowed halls of Buckingham Palace. As guardians of Britain's heritage and soft power, the British royal family found themselves entwined in a clash between tradition and protectionism. This analysis unveils how Trump's economic policies threaten not just industries tied to royal patronage, but the very essence of brand Britain itself. The British royal family, often perceived as an institution detached from economic policy, is in fact deeply intertwined with the global economy. This connection becomes especially apparent when examining the potential ramifications of former U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs. The prospect of Britain appearing separate from the global economy has fueled considerable speculation, particularly in the wake of Brexit and evolving international trade dynamics. As the United Kingdom forges its path outside the European Union, concerns have grown about whether it risks isolation or can redefine its role as a global trading power. This speculation stems from shifting trade alliances, the rise of protectionist policies, and Britain's efforts to negotiate independent agreements while maintaining its cultural and economic influence. One key driver of this perception is the challenge of securing favorable trade deals. The UK must now negotiate independently with global powers, including the United States and China, without the leverage of the EU's collective bargaining power. Although this independence offers flexibility, it also increases the difficulty of balancing relationships with competing interests. For example, aligning with U.S. protectionist policies under Donald Trump, such as tariffs on key goods, would have alienated European allies, complicating Britain's economic positioning. Additionally, Britain's efforts to protect its industries could reinforce the image of isolation. Policies aimed at prioritizing domestic production and imposing restrictions on imports might be interpreted as a shift toward economic nationalism. This would contrast with the open market principles that once defined Britain's role within the EU, further cementing the narrative of separation from broader economic frameworks. The monarchy's role in promoting brand Britain and fostering international goodwill adds another dimension to this speculation. As cultural ambassadors, the royals historically symbolized Britain's integration into the global community. However, if Britain is perceived as retreating from global economic participation, the monarchy's influence in attracting investment and promoting British industries could diminish. Despite these concerns, Britain's robust cultural, financial, and historical ties to major economies worldwide suggest it is unlikely to truly isolate itself. Instead, the country may aim to position itself as a global pivot, leveraging its unique identity and relationships to remain influential in global markets. However, achieving this vision requires a careful balance, avoiding policies or narratives that suggest withdrawal from global economic collaboration. Failure to do so risks reinforcing the perception of separation, potentially limiting Britain's opportunities in an increasingly interconnected world. While primarily designed to protect American industries, these tariffs indirectly impacted British industries that rely on global markets, industries that are closely linked to royal patronage and Britain's cultural identity. This analysis explores how Trump's trade policies might influence the British monarchy, focusing on economic ties, diplomacy, and public perception. Donald Trump's presidency brought a dramatic shift in global trade policies under the banner of America First. His administration sought to protect domestic industries by imposing tariffs on imported goods, aiming to address trade imbalances and perceived unfair practices by foreign nations. These policies disrupted global trade, sparking economic tensions that extended to key allies, including the United Kingdom, which found itself navigating these challenges amid its Brexit transition. Trump's tariffs primarily targeted industries like steel, aluminum, and agriculture, but luxury goods and iconic exports were also caught in the crossfire. For the United Kingdom, the impact was amplified by its reliance on the U.S. as a major trade partner. The timing of Trump's tariffs coincided with the UK's departure from the European Union, adding complexity to its trade relationships. While Brexit presented opportunities for Britain to negotiate independent trade agreements, Trump's protectionist stance created hurdles for industries seeking to expand their U.S. presence. Additionally, tariffs on EU goods often indirectly affected British exports during the Brexit transition, further straining economic ties. Beyond economics, the global response to Trump's tariffs revealed deeper challenges to international cooperation. While the U.S. justified its actions as necessary for protecting national interests, allies criticized the measures as unilateral and damaging to global trade norms. The UK found itself balancing the need to maintain a strong relationship with the U.S. while advocating for fairer trade practices that would benefit its economy. Donald Trump's presidency marked a dramatic shift in U.S. trade policy. Under the banner of America First, Trump introduced tariffs on a wide range of imported goods, aiming to revitalize domestic industries, reduce trade deficits, and challenge what he saw as unfair trade practices. These tariffs targeted countries worldwide, including long-standing allies like the European Union, EU, and China. Among the sectors affected were steel, aluminum, and agricultural products. But luxury goods and iconic exports, categories critical to British trade, also became collateral damage. In this global context, Trump's tariffs underscored the interconnectedness of economic policies and their far-reaching consequences. For the UK, the tariffs were not just an economic challenge, but a test of its resilience and adaptability in a shifting geopolitical landscape. These policies also highlighted the broader tension between nationalism and globalization, themes that continue to shape the future of international trade. For Britain, the timing of Trump's tariffs coincided with the complexities of Brexit. As the UK negotiated its exit from the EU, it faced uncertainties in its trade relationships, particularly with the US, a key market for British goods. Scotch whiskey, one of Britain's most prominent exports, faced a 25% tariff under Trump's policies. This move dealt a significant blow to an industry worth billions annually. Similarly, tariffs on textiles and other luxury goods added strain to sectors closely associated with British heritage. The British monarchy, as an institution, wields significant influence not only as a cultural and political symbol, but also as an economic powerhouse. While the royal family does not directly engage in business or policy making, their soft power and patronage play an essential role in fostering economic ties with key international markets, particularly the United States. The monarchy's connection to the U.S. economy extends beyond ceremonial visits and state dinners, permeating industries like tourism, fashion, heritage branding, and charitable initiatives. These ties underscore the symbiotic relationship between royal prestige and economic diplomacy. Tourism is one of the most visible ways the British monarchy contributes to the UK's economic relationship with the U.S. Each year, millions of Americans visit the United Kingdom, with royal attractions like Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and the Tower of London being top destinations. American fascination with the royal family, fueled by a blend of admiration, curiosity, and media coverage, translates into billions of dollars in tourism revenue. Royal events such as weddings and jubilees further amplify this economic impact. For example, the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in 2018, with its strong transatlantic ties, captured global attention and significantly boosted tourism and merchandise sales. The event generated an estimated $1.4 billion for the British economy, largely thanks to American visitors and media deals. This enduring fascination with royal occasions highlights the monarchy's unique ability to drive tourism, particularly from the United States, and strengthen cultural ties. The monarchy's influence extends deeply into the branding and promotion of British goods, many of which have significant markets in the United States. Royal warrants of appointment, granted to companies that supply goods or services to the royal family, are powerful endorsements that enhance a brand's reputation globally. Brands like Fortnum and Mason, Burberry, and Hunter Boots benefit from this royal association, gaining credibility and visibility in the lucrative U.S. market. American consumers, drawn to the mystique and quality associated with British heritage, are key customers for such brands. Royal events often highlight these goods, reinforcing their association with tradition and excellence. For instance, globally televised royal weddings frequently feature British designers and craftspeople whose creations generate heightened interest in the United States. From bespoke suits to high-end china, the monarchy's influence on brand Britain bolsters its economic reach across the Atlantic. The royal family plays an outsized role in promoting British culture to American audiences, contributing indirectly to the UK's economic influence. Media coverage of royal activities fuels interest in British literature, history, and entertainment. Productions like The Crown and royal documentaries dominate streaming platforms in the US, creating a multi-billion-dollar entertainment economy centered around the monarchy. This appetite for royal-themed content supports industries ranging from publishing to film production, generating jobs and revenue on both sides of the Atlantic. The monarchy's cultural appeal also drives demand for British fashion and luxury goods in the US. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, is often credited with boosting sales of brands she wears, from high street retailers to luxury designers. Dubbed the Kate Effect, her influence extends to American consumers, showcasing the monarchy's indirect yet powerful role in shaping transatlantic economic trends. The royal family's philanthropic efforts also strengthen economic ties with the United States. Many of their charitable initiatives focus on global issues like mental health, environmental conservation, and education, which resonate deeply with American audiences. For instance, the Invictus Games, spearheaded by Prince Harry, showcases a collaboration between the UK and US, bringing together wounded veterans from both nations. The games not only raise awareness, but also generate significant economic activity, including sponsorships, tourism, and media coverage. American donors and corporations frequently contribute to royal-led charities, recognizing the monarchy's unique ability to galvanize support for international causes. These ventures foster goodwill and create opportunities for economic partnerships that extend beyond traditional trade. State visits and royal tours are crucial to fostering economic ties between the UK and the US. Members of the royal family often accompany trade delegations or participate in cultural events aimed at strengthening business relationships. For example, during Prince Charles and Camilla's visit to the US in 2015, the Prince of Wales emphasized environmental sustainability, a cause that aligns with American innovations in renewable energy.
And consequently, the sustainability of the entire harmonious system is collapsing. So, in failing the Earth, we are failing humanity.
Such visits not only reinforce diplomatic ties, but also open doors for British companies seeking to expand their presence in the US market. The monarchy's ability to attract American investors is particularly important in the post-Brexit era, as the UK seeks to redefine its global economic partnerships. Royal visits provide a platform for showcasing British industries and innovation, helping to solidify economic relationships and encourage bilateral trade. Despite the monarchy's significant economic influence, its ties with the US face certain challenges. Shifts in American trade policy, such as tariffs on British goods, can strain industries closely linked to royal patronage. For example, the Scotch whiskey industry, a symbol of British heritage often featured in royal events, faced a 25% tariff under Donald Trump's administration. Such policies highlight the vulnerabilities of industries that depend heavily on US markets, emphasizing the need for the royals' continued advocacy for free trade and strong bilateral relations. Looking ahead, the monarchy's role in fostering UK-US economic ties is likely to evolve. Opportunities for growth exist in areas like green technology, cultural exchange, and digital innovation, all sectors where the royals can play a pivotal role in promoting British expertise. By adapting to emerging trends and maintaining their cultural relevance, the monarchy can continue to be a cornerstone of the UK's economic relationship with the United States. The British monarchy has long been a driver of economic value, both directly and indirectly. The royal family contributes billions to the UK economy each year through tourism, charitable endeavors, and endorsements of British culture. Royal patronage is especially significant in industries like fashion, agriculture, and hospitality. For example, royal warrants, symbols of the monarchy's approval, are awarded to businesses that supply goods or services to the royals. These warrants are more than ceremonial. They enhance the global reputation of brands, boosting sales and exports. However, tariffs targeting British goods could undermine these industries' profitability, creating ripple effects across sectors linked to royal branding. The Scotch whiskey industry provides a case in point. Often featured in royal banquets and state events, whiskey symbolizes British luxury and craftsmanship. Tariffs on this product not only reduce exports, but also strain small producers, many of whom depend on international markets. The tourism industry, another major economic pillar tied to the monarchy, could also feel indirect effects. International visitors flock to royal landmarks like Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, and the Tower of London, generating substantial revenue. A decline in the profitability of heritage-linked exports could diminish the broader allure of Brand Britain, potentially reducing tourism-related income. The economic ties between the British monarchy and the US are multifaceted, encompassing tourism, trade, media, and philanthropy. The royal family's soft power, rooted in tradition and global appeal, remains a vital asset in strengthening these connections. As the UK navigates an increasingly complex global landscape, the monarchy's ability to promote British culture and industries will be indispensable in maintaining its economic influence across the Atlantic. Beyond economics, the royals are integral to the UK's diplomatic strategy. As non-political figures, they serve as neutral representatives of British interests, using their global appeal to foster goodwill. State visits, official ceremonies, and charitable initiatives all contribute to the monarchy's role as a bridge between nations. Donald Trump's protectionist trade policies stood in stark contrast to the British royal family's long-standing advocacy for globalization and international cooperation. While Trump championed an America First agenda, emphasizing tariffs and domestic industry protection, the royals have historically promoted open markets, cultural exchange, and global partnerships as part of their soft power diplomacy. This divergence reflects deeper ideological differences in how both parties view the interconnected world economy. Trump's tariffs, such as the 25% duty on Scotch whiskey, highlighted his administration's prioritization of national economic interests, even at the expense of allies. These measures, aimed at reducing trade deficits, strained industries closely tied to Britain's heritage and royal patronage. The royal family, by contrast, represents a vision of globalization that emphasizes shared prosperity and cultural diplomacy. Through state visits, charitable efforts, and the promotion of British brands, the royals have continually worked to position the UK as a leader in a cooperative global economy. Prince Charles, a vocal advocate for environmental sustainability and ethical trade, exemplifies this contrast. His emphasis on combating climate change and supporting global development projects often clashed with Trump's focus on reviving traditional industries like coal and manufacturing. This ideological gap underscores how the monarchy's commitment to long-term global challenges differs fundamentally from the short-term economic nationalism seen in Trump's policies. Despite these differences, the royals' role in fostering UK-US relations remained vital during Trump's presidency. Hosting Trump during his 2019 state visit demonstrated the monarchy's ability to maintain diplomatic bridges even amid policy disagreements. This dynamic highlights the royals' enduring role in advocating for globalization, standing in sharp relief against the backdrop of Trump's protectionist agenda. Trump's presidency presented unique challenges for this soft power dynamic. His protectionist policies contrasted sharply with the royals' emphasis on globalization and cultural exchange. For instance, Queen Elizabeth II's hosting of Trump during a 2019 state visit highlighted the importance of the special relationship between the UK and the US. However, this visit occurred against the backdrop of escalating trade tensions, including tariffs on British goods. While the optics of royal hospitality sought to reinforce bilateral ties, the economic realities underscored a growing divide. Prince Charles's environmental activism further illustrates the ideological contrasts. A vocal advocate for sustainability, Charles has championed renewable energy and sustainable farming practices, positions that often conflicted with Trump's prioritization of traditional industries like coal and manufacturing. This ideological disparity may have limited the royals' ability to influence trade negotiations aligned with their values. The British monarchy is not merely an institution of governance, but also a symbol of national identity and pride. Its ability to embody prosperity and stability is central to its enduring popularity. However, economic challenges tied to tariffs can affect this perception. If industries linked to royal patronage, such as Scotch whiskey, textiles, or luxury fashion, suffer significant losses, the monarchy's association with British success could weaken. The British royal family, renowned as cultural ambassadors and symbols of stability, often find their global image entwined with economic and political developments. trade-related controversies, such as those triggered by Donald Trump's protectionist tariffs, pose unique challenges to maintaining the monarchy's carefully curated reputation. As champions of British heritage and advocates for globalization, the royals must navigate these challenges delicately to avoid being perceived as either complicit in economic strife or detached from its real-world impacts. One of the most visible challenges arises when industries tied to royal patronage are affected by international trade disputes. For instance, Trump's 25% tariffs on Scotch whiskey, a product deeply associated with British tradition and prestige, highlighted vulnerabilities within the monarchy's soft power framework. Scotch whiskey, often showcased at royal events and widely seen as a symbol of Britain's cultural excellence, faced substantial economic losses due to reduced access to the U.S. market. The royal family's association with such industries means they are inevitably drawn into the conversation, even when trade policies fall outside their sphere of influence. The royals are expected to avoid political partisanship, yet their global engagements often place them at the center of trade diplomacy. Hosting Donald Trump during his state visit to the UK in 2019 exemplified this tension. While the visit aimed to strengthen UK-US ties, it drew criticism from those opposed to Trump's controversial policies, including his protectionist measures. The monarchy's role in such events underscores their need to project unity and goodwill, while avoiding alignment with contentious political positions. The royal family's lifestyle and ceremonial roles can create a narrative that they are insulated from the economic realities facing the public. Trade controversies, particularly those impacting everyday Britons, amplify this perception. If the monarchy appears indifferent to the consequences of policies that hurt key industries or exacerbate economic inequalities, it risks alienating its domestic and global audiences. The challenge is compounded by the modern media landscape, where narratives spread quickly and public scrutiny is relentless. Events such as royal tours or state visits, designed to showcase Britain's openness and cultural diplomacy, can be overshadowed by controversy. For example, if a royal engagement were linked to a product affected by tariffs, media coverage could shift focus to the broader trade dispute, diluting the intended diplomatic message. To mitigate these challenges, the royal family must carefully adapt their messaging and engagements, emphasizing support for affected industries, such as by highlighting innovation and resilience, allows the monarchy to align itself with positive narratives. Similarly, leveraging their charitable work on global issues like sustainability and mental health reinforces their relevance beyond trade disputes. Ultimately, the royals' ability to navigate trade-related controversies lies in their enduring commitment to fostering goodwill and cultural exchange. By maintaining a focus on their symbolic role while addressing the real-world impacts of economic policies, they can preserve their global stature and remain effective advocates for Britain on the world stage. Public perception is also shaped by the royals' ability to adapt to modern challenges. For example, younger members of the family, like Prince William and Kate Middleton, have taken on roles that emphasize innovation and progress. Economic setbacks linked to trade tensions could complicate their efforts to promote British industries, potentially affecting their credibility as ambassadors of modern Britain. At the same time, the royals must navigate a delicate balance between tradition and progress. While they are seen as custodians of British heritage, they are also expected to champion contemporary values. Trade disputes that impact heritage industries may force the monarchy to take a more active stance in advocating for economic solutions, a role that could blur the lines of their traditionally apolitical position. As the UK continues to redefine its role on the global stage post-Brexit, the royal family remains a vital asset in promoting British interests. Their ability to represent the country's cultural and economic strengths ensures they remain relevant in an increasingly interconnected world. However, the indirect impact of Trump's tariffs serves as a reminder of the challenges they face in navigating global economic shifts. In a post-Trump, post-Brexit world, the British royal family's role as cultural ambassadors and global influencers will face both challenges and opportunities. As the UK navigates its departure from the European Union and a changing international international landscape, the royals' ability to adapt and promote British interests will be tested. The Trump administration's protectionist policies, such as tariffs on British goods, including iconic exports like Scotch whiskey, highlighted the growing tensions between nationalism and global cooperation. While the royals have traditionally represented a more globalized outlook, advocating for free trade and cultural diplomacy, their influence will now need to balance national interests with international relations. Brexit's aftermath only complicates this further, as the UK seeks to establish new trade agreements while severing ties with the European Union's unified market. The royals can play a key role in fostering these new relationships, leveraging their global appeal to open doors for British industries in countries like the US. Despite the political divides that defined Trump's presidency, royal diplomacy, such as state visits and cultural exchanges, helped preserve strong UK-US ties. However, post-Trump, the monarchy's role will likely evolve, especially as global power dynamics shift with emerging economic powers and new trade alliances. The monarchy's focus will likely remain on cultural influence and charitable endeavors. As soft power figures, they can continue to act as global connectors, promoting Britain's values and fostering international goodwill. Their ability to adapt to changing geopolitical realities will ensure that, despite the uncertainties of a post-Trump, post-Brexit world, the royal family remains an influential symbol of Britain's place on the global stage. Looking ahead, the royals may need to adapt their strategies to maintain their influence. This could involve greater engagement with emerging markets, a renewed focus on sustainability, or expanded efforts to support British industries affected by trade policies. Regardless of the approach, the monarchy's ability to adapt will be crucial to its continued relevance in the 21st century.